So what I want to talk to you today is about the two most important rear delt exercises that are going to help you fix shoulder pain, impingement, or tears. And I'm sure most of you have gone on to YouTube, you've seen the PTs, and they tell you, hey, look, what you need to be doing is to train in your rear delts, and you need to be doing Ys, Ts, and arrows, or maybe pec det. And when you do those exercises, you actually don't feel the rear delt working out, nor do you feel the lower traps that all the PTs want you to target. And instead, you feel an impingement or pain right in the front of the shoulder, or you just feel a lot of pressure through your neck and your upper trap. And that's because these PT exercises aren't actually strength to rear delt or lower trap at all. Instead, it's creating more compensation and making it harder for you to get out of shoulder pain. So before I go in depth on these two rear delt exercises, I'm going to show you a testimonial from one of my clients that I fixed with 2 shoulder tears.
I was diagnosed with the tear of the supraspinatus and the bicep tendons in both shoulders, and was told that I needed surgery in both. And you intercepted me and said, if you're going to give them half a year of your life, give me 4 months and we'll see what we can do. And it's changed my life. But I've got full range of motion. I'm not as strong as I was when I was in my 40s, but just turned 70, and still moving a couple of 1,000 pounds of firewood a week. And it's just worked out wonderfully for me. I've had no surgery.
Before we jump into these 2 exercises, I just want to briefly go over why traditional PT exercises like Ys, Ts, and arrows or scapros, why they often backfire on you on the initial phases of rehab. Most people with shoulder pain or impingement or tears, you will notice in most cases that the shoulder is going to be lifted, rolled forward, and lifted like this. This puts the humerus in an upward compromised position relative to the scapula. And when your shoulder is in this compromised position and you go to do Ys, Ts, and arrows or any type of horizontal adduction work, what happens is your shoulder will tend to shrug forward even more and round and lift like so. And this forces the upper trap, the levator, the anterior deltoid, and also your pec minor to stabilize during the exercise and create compensations, leading to more shoulder pain and impingement. And that's why it's nearly impossible to get into someone's lower trap when they have all these impingements and compensations. So what we do is we first focus on the rear delt here, 2 different pieces of the rear delts with 2 different exercises. And then once you get the anchoring system in place, then the later phases, that's when we go back in and we start training the lower traps. And now you can keep the shoulders down in position and actually access those muscles to get even better results and get yourself out of pain. It's also worth mentioning that our system is built on 4 different exercises. So we're going to really focus on these 2 that we're going to show you, but we're going to briefly go into now 2 other exercises that's part of our anchoring system to really fix the shoulders in the initial stages. So the first exercise here is called the depression row, okay? And if you have the shoulders shrugged up and rolled forward, what this is designed to do is, it's not a pulling exercise, it's a depression. So we hold the arm in this angle here at 45 degrees, and we push down. We don't try to roll back. And if you notice, when I push down, you see my shoulder moves on this plane, not pulling back and on this plane. So it's really designed to reset the shoulder. We also have it designed for another variation for the winged scapula, and we have free sample videos on the depression row. Look in the description of this video here. And the second exercise is what you see PTs do. So we do not use a band, and we start with 1 or 2 pounds. We make sure that the client only feels it in the infraspinatus here and not in the front of the shoulder or in the upper trap. And we'll put a link for a YouTube video that we did on this rotator cuff exercise. So now let's go into the first rear delt exercise, the Pant Pulls. And if you've seen other videos, you see it standing up. We don't do it standing up anymore in the initial phases. We actually do it laying over a bench. And then once they pass that test, then we move on to that standing variation that you've seen in other videos. So if here's my armpit line right here, if I go up from that with my finger, you want to feel it right here in that muscle there. So we start with our chest, trying to get it over the pad. And what we're going to do is, easily we use this bench here, it's around 30 degrees, what we're trying to do is get the shoulder to roll forward as we pick this elbow up this way. So we don't want to roll back and pinch our shoulders back together, because that's going to cause a shrug, and it's going to cause your trap or your front of your shoulders start overreacting. So we take this arm. What I like doing is once I get the client slouched, I have them put their hand right here on the back of the shoulder and make sure that this is not moving. So here, roll forward, hand here, center line of the torso, hold, try to feel that muscle right here. Don't let the shoulder move back. Now, a couple key components to this is, besides keeping that shoulder pinned down this way, is making sure that this hand isn't here like this. It's not a row. So what we want to do is make sure this wrist here is slightly behind the elbow line this way. So it's here, not here, this way. And another element to this is look at my elbow, my wrist, okay? You want to feel like your wrist is moving to the front of your hip here, and you want your elbow slightly out. So notice how the wrist is inside the elbow. That's how we're moving. And once you master it to here with 7-8 pounds, you only feel this muscle working here. Then we're going to try to get our elbow right to the top of our back line. And how do you know the cuts start coming up higher with the shoulder? Because you feel the correct spot, and you don't feel it in your trap or the front of your shoulder. And notice how when I come up, look at my shoulder. It's almost dipping more forward. You see? Look at that. It's that. It's not this. It's down to the floor with the shoulder. So now let's go into the second exercise, the delt backs. So I'm sure you've seen Josh or Strength Side doing this exercise here, or also you've seen our thumb down raise. We still do those exercises in phase 2, but in phase 1, we found this variation that we're going to show you much easier to target the rear delt in initial phases. So you want to feel this. If I grab the back of my shoulder here, this back cap, so here. You might also feel it a little bit through the pants pull muscle here. But what you want to do is, with this, is you don't want to pull the shoulder back, okay? Because then you're going to shrug up. What I want you to do, similar to the pants pulls, we're going to roll the shoulder forward, but not as much as the pants pull. I want you to just roll it forward so just a little bit above the edge of the bench right here, okay? So you just see a little bit of your chest line, just like so. And then when I come up, you see how I'm staying here. I'm not going like this. And then again, we're going to move on that 45-degree angle toward the center of our hip here. And just start below the bench. When you're doing this, make sure you're moving on that V shape, okay, around 45-degree end this way. And then, do you see when I move it? Pause, 1, 2, down a little bit, pause, 1, 2, I don't go like this. Okay, then as you get better at this, you just want to get your hand right to the edge of the bench here. And how do you know to start lifting higher on the bench? Because you only feel it here, and you don't feel it into your trap or the front of your shoulder. Okay, level 2, rather than being at 45, now we're going to align our hand more with our navel. Okay, so we're going to be more here. And again, see how when I come up, I'm not going like this. I'm keeping that shoulder pinned down. It takes the trap out. And again, build this up to 4 pounds for female, 5 pounds for men. So this is the delt backs designed specifically for the winged scapula. It's exactly the same as the regular delt backs. It's just a little bit of adjustment with the shoulder.
You want to make sure that your chest is far enough forward with this technique. So you see how he's got a little bit of wing right there. So now get your chest up over the bench more. Now, go ahead and do it. Up and hold it and push the chest down more. There, stay right there. Now you got control over the wing. You feel?
And you want to feel this through the rear delt, but you also want to feel the back of this. And then what you do is, as you get better, you start trying to bring the arm up higher, and the shoulder's going to roll back a little bit. And if the shoulder rolls back a little bit to the original delt back position, and you don't see any wing, then you know you're ready to go there. So once you pass the delt backs, the pants pulls, and also the other 2 exercises like we mentioned in phase 1, that's when we move into phase 2, and we start working on different lower trap exercises, similar to what you see the PTs doing. But it's a little bit more in depth and a little bit more complex. And that's why we have the app or doing private sessions with me, so you can really do these things correctly and get the shoulder to track properly and take the full pressure off to fix yourself if you have tears or impingement. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and leave some comments below about some of the stuff that you've been doing as far as rehab goes and the results that you've been getting if you've been dealing with different tears or shoulder impingement.